This hadith is reported in Sahih al-Bukhari. Abdullah ibn Qais narrated this hadith from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But before I start talking about this particular hadith, I just want to say Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back. Welcome to my channel. Alhamdulillah, in this channel we talk about Jannah mostly, but of course we also mention about other Islamic topics, but Jannah is what we are discussing at the moment, especially in this video. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, "Inna fil jannati khaymatan min lu'luwati muzawwafatan arduha sittuna milan fil kulla zawwatin minha aylun ma yarawna al-akharin yatufu alayhimul mu'minun." This hadith again is a Bukhari hadith. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he mentioned in paradise, means in Jannah, there is a pavilion made of a single hollow pearl 60 miles wide in each corner, of which there are wives. So what do you have? Wives in this place, in this special pavilion. We'll talk about the pavilion in a second, but let's see what this hadith is talking about. So there is going to be wives who will not see those in other corners, and the believers will visit and enjoy in turns. So basically what it means, three things here you have to understand that we get in this particular pavilion. But let's talk about this pavilion itself. Inna fil jannati khaymatan min lu'luwati. Pavilions, basically when we think about this, what comes to our mind is what we see obviously in this dunya. So you have a pavilion where you have the VIP sitting there, i.e. the head of state, the president, the prime minister, the king, the queen, all of those people. When they come to this particular place, they grab a seat in this pavilion. They sit at the front row. They are getting all the things that they need. They are served without asking for tea, for coffee, for food, for chicken biryani, burger, everything. They don't even have to ask for it because they're VIP, because this is a pavilion and they are at the front row, front seat, they are being served. Think about this in Jannah. When you are in Jannah, you will be served not by human servants, but mostly they're going to be angels who will be serving you. A human will not serve you, because in Jannah, all human beings you see in Jannah will be what? The owner of Jannah. In other words, there will not be human servant in Jannah. So for example, when we talk about Hoor AlAyn, they are not human being. They are special creation. Inna insha'ahu insha'a. Allah said about them that this is a special creation. They are for you to serve you in Jannah. In the pavilion, when you're sitting, you're being served food, and your wives from Jannah, the Hoor AlAyn, i.e. they will come with trays with special carrier, and they will offer you food, and you eat the food. And if you want to enjoy them, their company in this pavilion, while you are sitting in the pavilion, you can ask them, hey, can you come and sit with me? That you cannot ask in this dunya. People will slap you and there will be a huge scandal against you next day. But in Jannah, there is no scandal. You see a Hoor AlAyn serving you, just like people in this dunya serving king, queen, the head of state. They are going to be serving you, and then you see one of them and you say, hey, you, come here. I want you to sit with me, and I want you to do a massage, and I want you to be intimate with me. She's gonna be like, oh my God, I'm not for that. If you ask this woman in this dunya, what they're gonna say? This guy, he tried to sexually abuse me. But there is no sexual abusement in Jannah. These Hoor AlAyn are there to serve you. They are for you. Then obviously you'll have other types of young, for example, angel will be coming in a form of a young boy or young girl, walking around, having fun, playing with each other, and they will also be serving you. So you have all, like, whole spectrum of servants, if you like, in Jannah. But in this dunya, again, as I said, it's very, very limited. You cannot ask everything or anything. There will be a scandal. So let's talk about this pavilion. It is being mentioned. When we say pavilion, basically we means there is a special tent. It can also be translated khaymatan, as a tent where you go and sit. And this tent is a custom made tent, very, very special, very, very expensive, but you pay nothing. All of this are provided to you. And then the second thing we notice about this is lu'luwati mujawwafatan arduha sittuna milan fi kulla zawatin. Now there are two narration or two kind of description about the length of this tent. Some narration, it says it is 60 mile wide and 30 mile in length. Other narration, it flips, 30 mile wide, 60 mile is of its length. And also, as I said, other narration says 60 mile wide, 30 mile. But whatever it is, the number itself, how big it is quite obvious. So dear my sisters, you have this whole varieties of servants serving you. Then you have this huge, humongous place for you in Jannah. Again, all of these things are happening for you in Jannah and for free. And the third thing I also want you to pay attention to is this. In each corner, means in each pavilion, today what we have, like a restroom or VIP guest room, right? When you go to a hotel or a tent, if you are from the desert, from the Arabian countries, so you go to this tent, very special, very expensive tent, and there are like a lot of tents, one after another, lined up, and you go from one tent to another. All of these are for you, by the way. All of these tents that you're seeing, huge, humongous tent, because it's your kingdom. All of these are for you. What do? You say, okay, my darling, Hoor al Ayn, come with me. I want to visit the other tent. But you know what? You don't even have to ask the Hoor al Ayn to come with you. Why? Because Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said that when you are traveling, when you are going from one tent to another, from one pavilion to another pavilion, in each corner of which there are wives. And a lot of feminists will have big problem. My husband is going different tents and he's enjoying his wives. What do you mean? You're cheating on me. But sisters, don't worry. You'll get what you deserve. I get what I deserve and what I want, what I desire. So you go and see all of these wives and enjoy their companionship, each corner of which there are wives who will not see those in other corners. So there is going to be a barrier. Huge issue. Privacy is huge issue for some people. In Jannah, it will be kept hidden from those other wives of yours, so that they, number one, don't feel ashamed, shy, but also they have their own privacy. So for you, maybe you want to try different position when it comes to having intercourse. So you want to kiss one, Hoor al Ayn, and you want to do something else with the other one. And because of that variation, that you're testing and trying, by the way, nothing is shameful in Jannah. You can enjoy your wife as much as you want. I'm just painting you the picture. And so, because they could be jealous, obviously there is no jealousy in Jannah, but nevertheless, just to make sure you feel comfortable, every wife that you have will be hidden from each other. So you can enjoy them, you can try different position, you can try different food, you can try different movies with them, you can try different couches with them. They don't have to see. The one you are with, they're gonna see, and that is enough. And there will be wives who will not see those in other corners, and the believers will visit and enjoy them. The job for the believers, for you and me, inshallah, if we make it to Jannah, is that we will be visiting. When we were in this dunya, we used to visit the sick people, the oppressed one, and it was really taxing on us. because when you go to the hospital and you see a patient who is very, very sick, it is sometimes very, very stressful and overwhelming, emotionally and also physically. But because it is a responsibility for you as a believer to visit these people, to be there, to be by their side, you cannot say anything about this. You cannot say, my relative is sick, I cannot go because it is too much for me. As believers, we are supposed to and we must go and visit those who are sick in this dunya. So Allah will reward you. Allah will reward you for this stress that you're undertaking in this dunya, mental and physically, with who? He will replace this and reward you with Hoor al Ayn. You are visiting now Hoor al Ayn. In this dunya, you are visiting sick people. Now in the akhirah, you are visiting the Hoor al Ayn for pure enjoyment, and there will be no sickness in Jannah whatsoever. I want to actually, subhanAllah, play this video as a reminder. And this video talks about our house in Jannah. Let's take a listen.
A home which has brought happiness to the hearts of so many people, despite them not yet having entered it. A home which cannot be compared to any other home that we know of today. A home that causes every word of every language and every dialect to pause in a state of paralysis, unable to illustrate the magnificence of this particular home. This is a home that has made some people smile in the most grueling and grievous of circumstances. Just merely thinking about this home is enough to raise the burden from the burdened. And it is enough to replace the sorrow within the hearts of the sorrowed into happiness, and tightness into a sense of expanse.
It is so true. Think about this. When you are stressed, when you are upset, when you are depressed, when you were going through a lot of emotional burden and trauma in your life, and then all of a sudden you make sujood to Allah Azza wa Jal, and all of a sudden you start thinking about Jannah, the house, the home you have in Jannah. Guess what? For at least for some moment, all of these things are gone from you. The taxing on your shoulder is gone. You feel absolutely lightened all of a sudden. And these are all happening emotionally. These are all happening in your heart. And that has the potential a lot of the time to cure your physical weakness too. And this is why, subhanAllah, when you remember Allah Azza wa Jal in this dunya, you get extra strength to do more ibadah, to do more good deeds. And this is so true for all of us, dear brothers and sisters. When you do dhikr of Allah, when you enter, you are essentially entering into the realm of Jannah. When you are in the state of dhikr and sujood, you are in the realm of Jannah, even though you don't see it, maybe you don't feel it. But when you do those nafal, I'm talking about those nafal sujood at home, when you are at ease, in peace of mind, what happens to you? You feel like you have entered into a new realm. There is something in your heart that brings so much contentment, and then all of a sudden you find more strength. It is like a dose, a super dose, a tonic that works for your advantage, takes away all the anxiety you have. Likewise, when you think about Jannah and that house in Jannah, that in of itself is sometimes enough to take away all the burden, all the anxieties that you have, just by the thinking of it, by just the thought of it, that you have a place in Jannah and you will be there with your wife, with your family, with your parents, inshallah, all of them will be there, and you enjoy eternally. You never die. Just the thought of it. Sometimes you really need to ponder. We all need to really take a moment and think deeply about the bliss we will get in Jannah. It is uncomparable. It is unparalleled. We need to take a moment off. Now, let's talk about this logic. So, why we talk about Jannah? This is an analogy I want to use. So you can see here, they're cricketers, and these are two captains from two different teams. They're looking at the ultimate prize, and that is this glorious medal or cup they will get, this trophy that they will win. So they come close to this trophy, both of them from both sides, they take a look at this trophy, and because it is so magnificent and it is so glorious, they fight for it in the field, and they try their best to win the match. In other words, when you take a look at, or when you think about Jannah, this is exactly what happens to you. You become motivated because you can see the prize, just like this two captain when they saw the trophy. And this is why, dear sisters, it is so important for all of us really to talk about Jannah, so that we know what we are working for, so that we know everything that we are doing, what is the purpose behind it. Obviously, the ultimate purpose is to please Allah, but it is not haram. Scholars said it is not haram if you make a goal for yourself that you are doing all of the ibadah, the worship, only for Jannah. It is halal, no haram in it. If I say I'm doing ibadah for Jannah, it is okay, scholars said. And we do all of this for the sake of Allah, to please Him.
Is enough to free any human being from the shackles of burden and stress and depression and internal poverty,
until they reach the precipice of Jannah. Majestic gates, but the gates are closed, and the Rasul will move forward to ask for the gates to be open. So the Khazan says, who are you? So he says, Muhammad Rasulullah.
Isn't it so nicely tied up with following his sunnah? Subhanallah. Think about this. The Prophet ﷺ will open the gate for you. He will be at the forefront of all the believers, and he will show them way. He will show them how to get inside of the gate, and he will communicate with the guardian of the gate of Jannah, and he will do it only for those who followed him in this life. So it is so tied up, and it is so smooth and logical to think about how sunnah works both in this life and how it will have consequence in the hereafter. If you don't follow Rasulullah ﷺ, do you think he will open the gate for you? No, of course not. It doesn't make any sense that I am not following his sunnah. In fact, a lot of the time you're against him. Again, you're opposing his sunnah. Some people these days don't believe in hadith. Do you think he's going to open the gate for you? No, of course not. So, dear brothers and sisters, we really need to stick to his sunnah.
Ah, what an honor that you're of his nation. The angel says, I was ordered for you that I would not open this gate to any before you.
There will be no sweat, no bad smells. Nobody has to take a bath. Nobody gets older. Nobody gets tired. There's no bad words. Nobody has to work. There's no labor.
Yeah, nobody has to complain. Nobody has to go through any pain. No separation. No anxiety. No stress. And all of these things are continuing in forever. I mean, think about this. Every single day it is the same. Enjoyment after enjoyment after enjoyment, and excitement after excitement after excitement. Jannah is not a boring place. A lot of the time we think, oh, a lot of rich people, they have money, so what? They're bored. They don't know how to spend their money, and so they have to find out how to keep themselves entertained. So they do this, they do drugs, they do women, they do this, they do that. But in Jannah, you don't have to think about anything. It's not that, oh, I'm bored now, what I'll do next. No, it will be provided for you to keep you busy with all the happiness and the luxury and the pleasure in Jannah. I mean, and this is continuing on forever. This in of itself is something unbelievable. Like, for us, it is believable, but for the disbelievers, they don't want to believe this kind of things. Like, what do you mean by you will be happy forever and you not get bored there? But this is exactly what it is. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, Inna ahlal jannati la yatarawna al-ghurafa fil jannati kama tarawna al-kawkaba fis sama. He said, people of paradise will see the ghurafa, special abode, means a special place in Jannah, as you see star in the sky. A few things I want you to understand here. When you go out when there is no cloud, obviously. Do you have any problem seeing a star in the sky? No. Even if you don't have glass like I'm wearing, you can see, and you have some defect in your eyes, unless you are blind, of course, you will be able to see those stars. Regardless how bad or how weak your eye power is, you will able to gaze, you will able to understand, yeah, there is a star there, right? So in other words, Allah made it very clear in the sky for us to see those stars. They're big, they're just there, and there are millions and billions and zillions of them. In Jannah, you will have no problem looking at your abode, special place, ghurafa, and you will know, this is my place, this is where I belong, this is where I live, because it is going to be made so obvious to you, and you will not be unhappy after that. You will be excited and delighted, and you would want to work even more to reach to the next level of Jannah, and that process of you and your elevation and excitement and happiness in Jannah will continue on forever.